also new tariffs on all cars and trucks that are made outside of the U.S. They are now hit with a 25% tariff. Our Eye on Politics reporter Jack Fink spoke with the owner of two North Texas car dealerships about this.
Right now, to find somebody who has paid maybe $60,000 or $65,000 for a very high-end pickup truck, well, even the average pickup truck now is going to be crossing over that $50,000 barrier.
America's favorite vehicle just turned into its biggest problem.
A tsunami of supersized American-style pickup trucks are hitting Melbourne roads as sales reach record levels. But some fed-up drivers say the vehicles have no place down under.
Factories built for endless demand are choking on oversupply. Dealers are drowning in interest costs. And what looks like discounts is actually the start of something much bigger, a correction that could rewrite the entire truck market. So how deep will prices fall? Who pays the price first? Buyers, dealers, or workers? And what does it mean for you if the crash keeps spreading? Because by the end, you'll see, this isn't just trucks, it's a reset of the game. Inventory glut. The lots are not full, they are overflowing, and that is the first crack in the truck market. Across the nation, dealerships that once used scarcity as a weapon now face an avalanche of unsold vehicles. Days' supply of full-size pickups has surged, with some models sitting for more than 140 days before moving. For automakers, this is not simply a matter of slow weekends. It represents millions of dollars locked up in idle assets. Every truck parked too long eats into floor plan financing, forcing dealers to pay interest while trucks gather dust. The post-pandemic rush, when buyers scrambled to pay almost any price for a truck, encouraged manufacturers to overproduce. They bet that demand would remain hot indefinitely. Instead, rising interest rates and higher living costs pulled many would-be buyers out of the market. The mismatch created a sea of unsold pickups, from workhorse trims to high-end luxury editions. Consumers who once feared missing out now feel empowered to wait. Watching prices edge down each month, the very psychology of the market has flipped. When supply overwhelms demand, prices cannot stay propped up forever. Automakers face the uncomfortable truth that their own success in building trucks has now become a liability. Factories built for boom are about to collide with bust. Factory overbuild. Automakers did not just misread demand. They built for a world that no longer exists. Assembly lines across Michigan, Texas, and Kentucky were calibrated for record sales volumes. Shifts were scheduled, overtime promised, and suppliers contracted to deliver parts for relentless production. But the buyers never showed up in the numbers expected. The result is not only parking lots crammed with completed vehicles, but also factories struggling to justify their output. Instead of humming at full tilt, plants are now experimenting with staggered shifts and temporary shutdowns. Some have resorted to week-long idling, an unthinkable move only 2 years ago when every truck seemed guaranteed to sell. Automakers hate halting production because each pause ripples outward, hurting suppliers, local economies, and workers counting on steady paychecks. Yet the alternative is even worse, churning out trucks no one is ready to buy. The cost of maintaining overcapacity is brutal. Factories are designed to run efficiently only when operating near full volume. When lines slow, per-unit costs skyrocket. This destroys margins, forcing automakers to either accept lower profits or search for another way to move vehicles. Historically, that other way has been one word: incentives. When factories stumble, incentives roar to life. Incentives reappear. Sticker prices are a decoy. Incentives whisper the truth. The official window tag may still read $70,000 for a premium pickup, but hidden below the surface are a web of deals that shave thousands off. 0% financing, once thought extinct, has quietly returned on select models. Cash rebates are appearing again, advertised as holiday bonuses or special savings events. Some lenders are even extending loan terms just to keep monthly payments palatable. For buyers, this means the transaction price is already well below the sticker. For automakers, it is a desperate attempt to protect brand image while still moving inventory, publicly cutting the manufacturer's suggested retail price signals weakness. Offering incentives allows them to preserve the illusion of strength while quietly conceding ground. Dealers are encouraged to pitch these discounts as exclusive opportunities, but in truth, they are signs of systemic pressure. The longer the imbalance between supply and demand persists, the larger these incentives will grow. What begins as a modest financing offer can snowball into thousands of dollars of cash on the hood. Buyers who once had to fight for fair pricing are suddenly courted with sweeteners. It is the clearest signal yet that the market has shifted from scarcity to surplus. But even incentives cannot hide the next strategic retreat. Strategic EV pivots? When an automaker cancels its Halo electric pickup, That is not just news, it is a warning. Electric vehicles were pitched as the inevitable future of trucking, with bold promises of instant torque, clean energy credentials, and futuristic design. Yet reality has proved less forgiving. Concerns about towing range, charging infrastructure, and high sticker prices have cooled consumer enthusiasm. The result has been a wave of rethinking at the corporate level. Companies are quietly delaying electric rollouts, rebranding models, or scaling back production goals. Luxury trims once marketed as the pinnacle of prestige are being reassessed, with resources redirected toward more affordable mid-tier offerings. Executives understand that in a softening economy, fewer buyers are willing to swallow luxury SUV pricing for a pickup, even one with cutting-edge technology. Strategic memos now emphasize value, volume, and flexibility rather than moonshot projects. This pivot is not limited to electric trucks alone. It represents a broader rebalancing of priorities inside boardrooms. Automakers are learning that they cannot dictate consumer demand with marketing gloss. They must adapt to the new environment, even if it means retreating from once sacred strategies. Each cancellation or delay is a tacit admission that the ground beneath them has shifted. Dealers now face the fallout. Overflow becomes desperation. Overflow lots. The game flipped overnight. Scarcity died, surplus took over. For years, dealers leaned on the psychology of shortage, telling buyers that if they did not grab a truck today, it would be gone tomorrow. That strategy collapses when every corner of the lot brims with unsold pickups. What once felt like exclusivity has become overhang. Rows of Fords, Chevrolets, and Rams line up under the sun, waiting for buyers who no longer feel urgency. For the dealer, each unsold truck is more than an eyesore. It is a financial weight. Dealers finance their inventory through floor plan loans. Paying interest every month, a vehicle sits still. When supply grows faster than demand, that cost compounds. Instead of a few dozen trucks waiting for homes, some dealers now carry hundreds. Every passing week chips away at margins, and desperation begins to shape behavior. Suddenly, sales tactics change. Managers whisper instructions to approve deals they would have scoffed at 1 year ago. Advertisements grow bolder, not promising scarcity, but screaming availability. The math is unforgiving. Move metal or bleed cash. Consumers who recognize the shift discover leverage they have not held in more than a decade. But the deepest wounds are not in ordinary pickups. They are in the luxury aisle. Luxury trims collapse. Denali, Platinum, High Country. Yesterday's prestige is today's dead weight. For years, automakers pushed high-trim pickups as status symbols, layering on leather interiors, panoramic roofs, and technology packages that ballooned sticker prices to more than $70,000. In a booming economy, some buyers accepted the trade-off, treating these trucks like rolling luxury SUVs with beds. But when household budgets tighten, demand for those pricey models evaporates. Dealers cannot afford to let a $75,000 truck linger. Each month it sits. Depreciation carves away resale value, and interest charges pile up. Incentives on luxury trims arrive faster and hit harder than on base models. What was once advertised as exclusive quickly becomes negotiable, with discounts that would have been unthinkable during the scarcity years. The dream of prestige fades when buyers realize they can wait and watch the prices fall. For consumers, patience is rewarded handsomely. The same truck that looked unattainable last summer begins to drift into reach by winter. For dealers, however, every luxury model sold at a discount feels like a small defeat. Proof that the old formula of build higher, charge more no longer works. The luxury market has gone soft, and the softness spreads outward. As internal combustion engines struggle to hold the line, electric incentives add gasoline to the fire. EV incentives versus ICE. One rebate and one tax credit can flip the math on your monthly bill. That is the reality as electric pickups creep further into the mainstream. Buyers who compare financing offers quickly notice that electric models often carry stacked advantages. Federal tax credits, sometimes worth several $1,000s, pair with dealer rebates or special financing programs. The result is that an electric Ford F-150 Lightning or Chevrolet Silverado EV can suddenly match or even undercut the monthly payment of a traditional gas-powered pickup. This is not about brand loyalty anymore. It is about arithmetic. A buyer looking at two trucks on the lot, one gas and one electric, begins with the sticker price, but makes the final decision based on what comes out of the checking account every month. When incentives and credits bend the math, the internal combustion model loses ground. Dealers see this shift and respond with their own price concessions, desperate not to lose the customer across the aisle. The payment-driven dynamic undermines the old pricing structure of gas pickups. Once shoppers realize they can secure better terms by considering electric options, pressure mounts on traditional models to offer bigger discounts just to stay competitive. And when automakers still resist cutting prices outright, they reach for disguises. If this breakdown has already opened your eyes to what's happening behind dealership doors, make sure to hit the like button. It helps push this video to more viewers who need this info. Then drop a comment below. Do you think truck prices will keep crashing? Or is this just temporary turbulence? Shadow price cuts. A special edition is not special. It is a markdown in disguise. Automakers have long hated visible price cuts, slashing the manufacturer's suggested retail price signal's weakness, raising doubts about value. Instead, they craft subtler tactics. A truck arrives branded as a limited edition, but in truth, it is the same vehicle stripped of costly options and offered at a lower entry price. Fleet sales accelerate, with thousands of units offloaded to rental companies or government buyers at quiet discounts, never advertised to the public. These shadow price cuts allow companies to protect image while still relieving the pressure of unsold inventory. For the casual buyer, it looks like variety. For the industry insider, it is clear evidence that trucks are not moving at previous levels. Special financing packages, disguised trim levels, and bulk fleet deals all serve the same purpose: move volume without formally admitting defeat on MSRP. The camouflage works only so long as consumers do not notice, but shoppers are savvier now. Online listings, comparison sites, and consumer forums expose the gap between official stickers and actual transactions. The reality cannot stay hidden forever. Now that you know the tricks, let's talk about how to play the game as a buyer. Timing windows. The cheapest day to buy is not today. It may not even be this year. The truck market is in the middle of a long correction that will not play out all at once. Experts describe it in 3 distinct phases. The first phase is already visible: incentives. Automakers and dealers are quietly layering rebates, low-interest loans, and limited-time bonuses to keep sales moving. It is the softest form of correction because it does not touch the official manufacturer's suggested retail price. But for smart buyers, it is the first signal that leverage is shifting. The second phase is MSRP cuts. These are much rarer and far more dramatic. They happen only when inventories have sat too long and incentives no longer work. At that point, automakers face the embarrassment of trimming official prices, a move that redefines value expectations across the entire segment. The third phase is stabilization. After months of discounts and markdowns, the market resets to a new normal, not as inflated as 2021, not rock bottom, but somewhere in between where buyers once again feel trucks are reasonably priced. History offers lessons too. In past downturns, buyers who rushed early often watched prices tumble further within months. Those who waited, monitoring each phase patiently, secured the deepest savings. Timing is not guesswork. It is discipline. Recognizing market cycles turns hesitation from fear into strategy, and strategy into money saved. Recognizing these phases is key to timing. Patience means savings, but the timing of each step matters. Once you know when, the next step is where. Target inventory pockets. Do not chase unicorns. Hunt where the herd is thickest. Buyers often get distracted by rare trims or unusual configurations, but the best deals hide in plain sight. Trucks produced in massive numbers, like the Chevrolet Silverado 1500, the GMC Sierra 1500, and the Ford F-150, are especially vulnerable when supply outpaces demand. Dealers cannot sit on endless rows of these workhorses without cutting prices. The Nissan Titan is even more exposed. It has struggled for years to gain meaningful traction in the United States, and when lots are full, Titans quickly become the first trucks to receive aggressive markdowns. Fleet-friendly trims also bend fast. Contractors and businesses shop on cost first, not prestige, so dealers chase their business by offering razor-thin margins. The more inventory a dealer has of a given trim, the more leverage buyers hold. For consumers, the key is scanning lots and online listings for patterns. If you see rows of identical trucks in the same trim sitting unsold, you have leverage. The dealer knows those models are tying up financing costs. A patient buyer who identifies these pockets is positioned to negotiate from strength, not weakness. Buyers who track regional trends gain even more leverage. A Silverado that lingers unsold in Texas may still command attention in Colorado, but digital marketplaces expose those gaps instantly. Transport costs are minor compared to multi-thousand-dollar markdowns, meaning a savvy shopper can cross state lines and claim unmatched bargains. Once you target the right truck, the next trick is stacking deals. Stacking discounts. 1 discount helps. 5 discounts change your life. The smartest buyers do not stop at the first rebate. They stack every available tool into one deal. Start with the financing offer. Dealers may advertise a 0% or low annual percentage rate loan. Then add manufacturer rebates that can shave thousands of dollars off the top. Loyalty bonuses, conquest offers for switching brands, and seasonal promotions pile on. Bring in your trade-in. Armed with multiple appraisals from online services and other dealers, and you have yet another chip on the table. Finally, leverage your own bank or credit union pre-approval to force the dealer to beat the rate. The power of stacking is not in each piece individually, but in the way they combine. What begins as a modest rebate and a decent loan can snowball into thousands of dollars of savings once you add trade-in value and outside financing pressure. Many buyers leave money on the table simply because they do not ask what else can be added. Dealers rarely volunteer every incentive. They wait for the savvy customer to push. Even timing can be stacked. Shopping at the end of a quarter, when dealers chase factory bonuses, often layers extra savings on top of rebates and financing offers. Stack that with trade-in leverage and loyalty perks, and suddenly, the dealer's desperation multiplies your advantage, transforming hesitation into outright victory. Stacking turns you from a shopper into a strategist. Each added layer multiplies your control at the table, and if you think this leverage is short-lived, think again. Macro downtrend ahead. This is not a dip, it is the start of a multi-year reset. The forces pushing truck prices downward are not fading in a few weeks. They are structural. Inflation has stretched household budgets, leaving fewer families able to absorb giant monthly payments. Interest rates remain high, making financing more expensive and discouraging impulsive purchases. Meanwhile, the surge in used vehicles entering the market after lease returns is adding downward pressure from the other end, forcing new truck prices to bend further. Automakers themselves created part of this storm by overbuilding during the boom years of 2021 and 2022. They expected endless demand that never materialized. Now they are saddled with excess capacity, and everyday trucks sit unsold drains resources. This pressure will not disappear overnight. The correction will play out gradually, with discounts deepening in waves as companies try to manage supply. The pressure also builds from shifting consumer psychology. After years of conditioning to accept endless price hikes, buyers are now realizing patience pays. Each delayed purchase reinforces the cycle, teaching consumers that waiting brings bigger savings. That cultural shift deepens the downtrend, ensuring corrections last longer than analysts first predicted. For buyers, this is good news. Waiting longer is not simply a gamble. It is a strategy backed by economic fundamentals. The conditions ensuring cheaper trucks are not temporary. They will shape the market for years to come. And when the decline drags on, the ripple effects shake more than prices. Boardroom pivots. When loyalty dies, value becomes the only language left. In the past, Detroit executives could lean on tradition. Generations of families bought the same brand of truck, believing it stood for toughness or prestige. That loyalty gave automakers cover to push higher prices year after year. But when prices start collapsing, boardrooms must accept a different reality. Brand equity cannot stop a buyer from crossing the street to save several $1,000s. Automakers are responding with a series of pivots. One is trimming their lineups, quietly scaling back the number of ultra-luxury trims that no longer justify their costs. Another is repositioning MSRPs to signal affordability. Executives know the optics of lowering prices are painful, but they also know that holding out risks losing even more market share to competitors. Fleet sales, once a background channel, are moving front and center as companies unload trucks to rental agencies, contractors, and government accounts to soften the blow of sluggish retail demand. In the boardroom, the conversation has shifted from "how much can we raise?" to "how much can we hold on to?" It is not innovation that dominates these meetings anymore. It is survival strategy. Behind closed doors, executives debate more than numbers. They debate survival itself. Should they chase electric momentum, double down on affordable combustion trucks, or retreat into fleet contracts? Each option carries risk. The old playbook of steady loyalty and steady margins has collapsed, leaving leaders gambling on strategies with no guarantees. But workers will not stay silent as profits get thinner. You've just seen how far these market shifts reach. And that's only part of the story. If you want the full picture as it unfolds, subscribe right now. Don't wait, because the next wave of revelations is already in motion, and you'll want to be here first when it hits. Labor fallout. Discounts look like wins until you see what they mean for jobs. Every truck sold below its original margin slices into the revenue that pays wages, benefits, and pensions. For unionized plants, this becomes a battleground. Union leaders understand that the flood of discounts signals weakness, and weakness often leads to job cuts or forced concessions. Workers who once celebrated record demand now face whispers of furloughs and shortened shifts. Communities built around truck plants feel the tremors first. A slowdown at a facility in Kentucky or Michigan does not just hit line workers. It ripples into local restaurants, suppliers, schools, and tax bases. For small towns, a single shift reduction can erase millions in economic activity. Electric vehicle retraining programs are held up as solutions, but many workers fear being left behind, especially older employees who built careers on combustion technology. And the anxiety does not stay confined to factories. Families brace for relocation, children face uncertainty about parents' employment, and small businesses tied to plant traffic begin to cut hours. The human cost of cheaper trucks is hidden in school enrollments, mortgage defaults, and shrinking main streets. Negotiations grow tense. Unions push for job protections and guarantees that retraining will not simply become a euphemism for layoffs. Automakers, caught between investors demanding profitability and workers demanding stability, walk a narrowing tightrope. The discount era is reshaping not just what buyers pay, but whether workers can count on a paycheck. And politicians cannot resist jumping into the fight. Policy and politics. One stroke of policy can change your monthly payment overnight. Federal tax credits for electric trucks are not simply green initiatives. They are levers that tilt the competitive field. A $10,000 incentive can make an electric model instantly cheaper to own than a gas-powered equivalent, regardless of sticker price. Tariffs on imported parts or vehicles, meanwhile, raise costs for manufacturers, forcing them to either absorb losses or pass them on to buyers. Emission standards add another layer of complexity. Stricter rules push automakers to invest billions in compliance, often accelerating the pivot to electric fleets. Politicians frame these moves as climate victories, but inside the industry, they translate into scrambled budgets and reshaped product lines. State-level incentives further complicate the map, with buyers in one region enjoying cheaper access to electrics while others are left behind. Policy has become the hidden hand steering the truck market. For automakers, every change in Washington or Brussels can undo months of planning. For consumers, it means prices are not just dictated by dealers, they are reshaped by lawmakers. And as policy storms collide with market corrections, buyers are left in uncharted territory. For them, the endgame is clear. Consumer reset. Truck buying will never be the same again. The old ritual, walking onto a lot, paying close to sticker, and justifying the price with brand loyalty, is breaking down. Shoppers are no longer driven by prestige badges like Platinum or Denali. They are driven by monthly payments, total value, and the willingness of a dealer to deal. The psychology of scarcity has been replaced by the culture of negotiation. As buyers adjust, brand loyalty erodes. A family that bought Ford for 3 generations may switch to Chevrolet if the discount is deeper. A loyal Ram driver may walk away for a Toyota Tundra if the financing terms are better. For newcomers, whether they are Korean brands or Chinese entrants, the collapse of loyalty opens the door. Value, not heritage, becomes the deciding factor. This cultural reset is as significant as any factory shutdown or policy change. Once buyers learn they can wait, push, and demand more, it is nearly impossible to restore the old order. The dealership experience is shifting from intimidation to opportunity, and the average driver now holds the upper hand. And this story is not over. The ripple effects we see today are only the beginning of a larger transformation that will define the next decade of mobility. So here's the truth. Truck prices aren't just shifting. They're resetting the entire game. Dealers know it, automakers fear it, and now you've seen exactly how deep the cracks run. But this is only the beginning. More revelations are coming. And if you want to stay ahead, saving money, spotting trends, and protecting yourself, you need to be here when they break. Hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Together, we'll cut through the noise and uncover the stories the industry doesn't want you to know.